The night was calm in Willow Springs, a town so small you could drive through it in 10 minutes. But on June 12th, everything changed. A nurse, one of their own, beloved and trusted, vanished. Within days, the search for her would uncover secrets, lies, and a trail of disappearances no one in Willow Springs was ready to face. This is the story of Sarah Whitfield, the nurse whose sudden disappearance shocked her community, and the truth that revealed something far darker than anyone could have imagined. Sarah Whitfield was 32 years old. She worked the night shift at Willow Springs Community Hospital, the only medical facility within 30 miles. Her patients adored her. She was gentle, quick with a joke, and carried a steady presence that made even the most nervous family members feel at ease. On the morning of June 12th, Sarah clocked out of her shift at 6:15 a.m. She waved goodbye to her colleagues, walked to the hospital's small gravel lot, and drove away in her gray Honda Civic. She was expected at her sister Emily's house later that afternoon for a family barbecue. She never arrived. By that evening, her family reported her missing. For a small town like Willow Springs, the word missing carried weight. The sheriff's department immediately organized search parties. Volunteers scoured fields, forests, and backroads. Flyers with Sarah's face covered every lamppost and diner window. But Sarah Whitfield was gone. At first, investigators suspected a random act of violence. Willow Springs sat near Highway 47, a lonely stretch known for hitchhikers and the occasional drifter. Maybe Sarah had been followed, abducted, or caught up in something bigger than herself. Deputies traced her last movements. Security cameras confirmed she left the hospital parking lot at 6:17 a.m. But 2 miles down the road, her car was found abandoned near an old bridge. The driver's side door was ajar, keys still in the ignition. There was no sign of a struggle, no footprints, no blood. The town's fear deepened. People locked their doors at night. Mothers refused to let their children walk to school. Everyone whispered the same question: what happened to Sarah? The deeper investigators dug, the more they realized Sarah wasn't quite the small-town angel everyone believed. Bank records revealed she had been withdrawing large sums of money in cash every week. Phone records showed late-night calls to a number registered out of state. And then came the discovery that changed everything. Sarah had recently purchased a burner phone. What was she hiding? Friends painted a complicated picture. Sarah had been stressed, distracted in recent months. She sometimes showed up to work exhausted, and her once bright demeanor seemed dimmed. Some colleagues admitted she talked about starting over, somewhere new. But it was her sister Emily who gave investigators the first real lead. Sarah had confessed weeks earlier that she was involved with someone she shouldn't be. She never said who. The small-town rumor mill churned. Some said Sarah had been having an affair with a married man. Others whispered she had gotten tangled up in drugs. But the truth was even stranger. Investigators traced the burner phone's last activity to an address on the edge of town, the home of Dr. Alan Pierce, the hospital's chief physician. Dr. Pierce was 47, respected, married with 2 children. On the surface, he was untouchable. But behind closed doors, things weren't so perfect. His marriage was crumbling. And Sarah Whitfield had been more than just his employee. Text messages recovered from the burner phone revealed an affair, one that had turned volatile. Sarah had threatened to expose him, and Pierce had begged her not to. With the town watching, deputies searched Pierce's home. They expected to find evidence of an affair, maybe a motive for violence. What they found instead shocked everyone. In Pierce's basement was a locked storage room. Inside were 17 driver's licenses. 17. Each belonging to a person who had gone missing in nearby counties over the last decade. Sarah Whitfield's was the most recent addition. The puzzle pieces began falling into place. For years, families across 3 counties had reported missing loved ones. Men, women, even teenagers. The cases had gone cold, dismissed as runaways or drifters. But now, investigators had evidence linking them all to one man, Dr. Alan Pierce. Behind his polished smile and white coat, he had been hiding something monstrous. Neighbors recalled strange noises at night. Hospital staff remembered how certain patients seemed to disappear from records. But the question remained, why? Confronted with the evidence, Pierce finally cracked. He admitted Sarah had threatened to expose him. Not just their affair, but his research. Pierce claimed he had been experimenting with human endurance, taking vulnerable people, runaways, addicts, the overlooked, and subjecting them to cruel tests in an abandoned farmhouse outside of town. He insisted it was for science, a twisted obsession born from his medical career. Sarah had found out, and that sealed her fate. Investigators raided the farmhouse. What they found was worse than their darkest fears. Underground chambers, shackles, medical equipment stained with blood, journals filled with meticulous notes on subjects, times, conditions, outcomes. 17 people had entered that farmhouse. None had come out. Sarah's body was discovered there too, hidden beneath the floorboards. When Dr. Alan Pierce was arrested, the entire town of Willow Springs stood outside the courthouse. Some cried. Others shouted. No one could believe that the man who had delivered their children, who had treated their fevers, who had been trusted for decades, was a killer. At trial, prosecutors laid out the chilling details. The jury took less than 4 hours to convict him of 17 counts of murder, plus Sarah's abduction and death. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. For Willow Springs, healing never came easily. The hospital closed its doors. Families of the victims gathered for memorials, placing photos and candles on the courthouse steps. Sarah Whitfield was buried beside her parents. Her sister Emily spoke at the funeral. She wanted to help people. She wanted to heal. And in the end, she uncovered the darkest truth of all. The town would never forget. And the farmhouse still stands, empty, a silent reminder of the night one nurse's disappearance revealed the evil hiding in plain sight. 17 lives stolen. One nurse's disappearance that brought it all to light. The people of Willow Springs learned that monsters don't always come in the night. Sometimes they wear white coats. Sometimes they live next door. And sometimes, it takes just one person's courage to bring the truth to the surface.